Second Esdras, chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou hast seen, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the spirit to do this lesson. And I'm pretty sure, if you didn't know, you should know by now. If you didn't know before, you had this massive earthquake hit, Venezuela, Japan, Venezuela, California was hit with an earthquake as well. And this is how Yahweh Shem Yahushua visits the earth. The Lord visits the earth in his fury and his judgment and his anger. Right? And nobody wants to see the Lord's anger. People may say it idly, and believe that, they would be able to withstand the judgment of the Lord, but no one on this planet can withstand the judgment on the Lord of the Lord. I've seen this pop up in my my feed, about a day or two now. And the spirit jumped on me to do something on it today. And this is going to happen, man. This is going to keep happening. This is going to be a recurring thing. The scriptures tell you that in the last days is going to be earthquakes in diverse places. I'm going to get that scripture in a minute, because we're living in the time of this place collapsing. We're living in the time where the Lord is about to completely wipe this place out, man, this kingdom out, because the wickedness is great. Pride is at a high level. And people don't get it, man. People just don't get it. They would just rather, continue living their life, not regarding the word of the Lord, living with no fear of the Lord. But you see, the Lord got other plans, man. The Lord is going to make the whole world fear him. The Lord is about to turn it up a notch. So I got two videos, that I want to show. But before that, let me get this next one real quick. Matthew. I had just quoted it. In Matthew 24 and verse 3, it says, And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? We jump to verse 7. It says, For nation shall rise up against nation. You see that going on. Iran and the U.S., Israel, China, Russia, the U.S. It's just back and forth, man. And they rising up against each other. Right? It says, And there shall be famines. Famines, that shortage of food. That's at the door. Because what they don't want to tell you and what they're not telling you is that the food supply is low. A lot of this food that they pushing out is fake food, man. Right? So it says, And there shall be famines and pestilences, which are diseases. What you had, the Hansa virus, you had the COVID virus back in 2020, 2021, whatever. Right? There's going to be many more that pop up. Right? It says, and earthquakes in diverse places, meaning like places, all over. Where there were once no earthquakes, there are going to be earthquakes. And it's a lot of earthquakes that's not being reported. So, yeah, we in that time, man. When you jump up to verse 3, it tells you, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So we know that when we see these signs, that the Lord is on his way back. And that the world, meaning this age, this kingdom, is ending when we see these signs, man. So let's check out these 2 videos. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing to elect the other 5. Shalom.
Thousands are feared dead in the rubble of a devastated Venezuela tonight as rescue teams claw through the aftermath of 2 major earthquakes last night. The first, a magnitude 7.2, struck near San Felipe, west of Caracas, about 6 p.m. local time. The second, just 39 seconds later, even stronger, a magnitude 7.5. At least 100 buildings collapsed in one coastal state alone, and this may go down as the deadliest quake in Venezuelan history. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano has details.
Video captured the terrifying moment a building collapsed into the street, sending people running for their lives after a powerful magnitude 7.2 earthquake violently shook northern Venezuela.
It's the heaviest quake felt in Venezuela.
Then a second quake.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but when they I don't know if it was Venezuela, it could have been Argentina or whatever, but when they voted on chattel slavery being the most violent crime known to man, there were 3 that disagreed or whatever. It was the US, Israel, and it was I don't know if it was Venezuela, it could have been Argentina, but one of them. But I'm not saying that it may not be connected. It might be, it might not be. I might have the country wrong. Salakia if I do. But over there in Venezuela, they a lot of these countries where Jake go to, man, they especially the Southern Kingdom, man, they show hatred to their brother, man. I did a video on the Cuba blackout, a while back. And it came out that them Cubans, they have a hatred for the so-called black men as well, man. The same over here in Venezuela, man. Right? And it's a large population of the small hats in Venezuela and in Argentina. So they welcome Esau Edom with open arms over there. But when Jake come over there, they mock and they show their hatred, man. So the Lord is going to start judging the northern kingdom as well as the southern kingdom. It's not going to just be judgment in America and Babylon amongst the southern and northern kingdom. It's going to be the tribes are going to catch hell abroad. They're going to catch hell abroad in their so-called countries.
Nearly 3 times stronger, struck less than a minute later, causing panic at a street party. A catastrophic 1-2 punch that has devastated much of the northern coast. The coastal city of La Guaira is being described as a disaster zone. Inside the country's main airport, passengers were seen fleeing as parts of the terminal's roof collapsed. High-rises turned to rubble, entire facades peeled off, more than 100 buildings lying in ruin. Stunned survivors described the terror. I lost my daughter, my grandson, and my granddaughter, this woman said. She was due to be born in a month. Now the race is on to find survivors.
Wow, man, that's tough. Lost your daughter and your grandson, man. Man, that's tough.
survivors. Cheers erupted as this baby was pulled from the rubble alive. Others were not so lucky. Rescue workers, short on heavy equipment, were seen moving big chunks of rubble with their bare hands. The U.S. has pledged $150 million in aid and mobilized much of the needed support.
They have a much of collapsed buildings, and so they'll need a lot of help in terms of digging through that.
Officials feel a mounting death toll.
And look at who's first on the set, man. So you know what they plan to do. They plan to go over there and capitalize on that. You know, over 100 buildings in the same area just destroyed. They're gonna rebuild that into whatever they want to make it for. They gave $150 million in aid, right? Come on, man. It's the same old thing. Who's always the first to into the room when disaster strikes? The US, man. So they looking to benefit from this.
As thousands are still missing.
There are now growing frustrations over the lack of that heavy machinery that's needed to lift the pieces of those collapsed buildings where there's people still inside waiting to be saved. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez is asking the private sector to help with whatever equipment they can spare. Tony.
Lilia, you've reported extensively from Venezuela over the years. Your first thought when you heard about this?
Well, Tony, this is a country that is now facing a major crisis on top of a humanitarian crisis. It's a country where millions of people have been struggling to get access to reliable health care, to electricity, clean water, to a stable economy. All of those issues have now been made exponentially worse, and this could lead to another mass migration into those neighboring countries like Colombia or Brazil.
We'll keep covering it. Lilia, thank you very much.
So, that's same old song, man. Same old song. Right? And you can see the fear on them, man. See, the pride is there until you get humbled. And the crazy thing with our people, so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, is that when these types of things happen, they don't humble themselves like that, man. They get angry, right? They get angry. They feel like it just shouldn't happen. They don't think about it being the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua and him wanting them to repent and come back to him. They don't think about that. But when the Lord ups that level of judgment on our people, they're gonna know for a fact that it's the Lord that's doing it, man. Right? So let me get another script, and we're gonna play this one. This is Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 6. It says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquakes and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire," man. So all of these elements, all of these catastrophic events, these off the Richter scale events, as far as earthquakes and storms and hurricanes and tornadoes, that's all the Lord, man. And it tells you that you're being visited by the Lord when these things happen, right? This is how the Lord visits the earth, right? This is how the Lord visits the earth. And hey, man, you can't escape it. Nobody knows when an earthquake is going to happen, man. This is 2 Esdras 5:1. It says, "Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken a great number." Right? They said thousands may be feared dead. Last time I seen it, it was 920, 940 people that were dead, confirmed dead, and thousands injured. Right? And this number is not going to be nothing compared to the number, in the near future, man. It's going to go from 900 to 90,000, right? To 190,000, man. Right? Because what? People are very proud against the Lord, man. People forgotten the Lord, man. Our people have forgotten their resting place, which is Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Right? So you're going to have to pay for that, man. You're going to have to pay for that. And you ain't ready to pay for that. You're not. So let's check this one out. And I think when you look at it on the Richter scale, I think the highest ever recorded may have been a 8.2, something like that, magnitude earthquake. So imagine when the Lord, antes that up to 9.5 or 10, or just complete, a complete wipeout of a city, or of a town, or of a state. The Lord is angry, man. The Lord is very angry, and you Americans, you people down here on the earth, regardless of wherever you at, you think that you're more important than the Heavenly Father. You think that it's about you, and you can control your destiny, and you have the strength to keep going, and you don't need the Most High, man. Right? You other nations, you mean nothing to the Most High, right? You were just made for slaves and servants. Whether you so-called Japanese, Chinese, East Indian, African, Arab, or so-called white, you are all going to be servants in the kingdom. The Lord doesn't care about you. Who the Lord does care about is the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? But in the midst of the Lord judging his people, you're going to be judged as well. All of these countries played a role in slavery, man. All these countries touched the apple of the Lord's eye. All of these nations, right, have had their hand in destroying the children of Israel, man. So the scriptures tell you in Baruch that, let's get Baruch. Baruch chapter 4. Baruch chapter 4, verse 30. I'm going to start at 30. It says, "Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, the children of Israel, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall, which were all these nations," man. Right? And and now, being that we're in the last days, all these nations, they're coming out and revealing how they really feel about so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, man. Right? It says, "Miserable are the cities which thy children served, and the Israelites have served every captivity under every nation," man. They have served captivity under every nation. Right? It said, "Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation," man. Right? So this is talking about Babylon the Great. But all these nations, they're included in this, man. It says, "For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning." So how prideful these other nations are right now, the Lord said that pride is going to be turned into mourning. And guess what? We love it, man. We don't give a damn about you other nations, man. Right? You other nations are nothing but missile food and dirt compared to, when it comes to the Lord and how he feels about you, man. And we feel the same way. Right? So, yeah, man, you're going to catch hell in Japan, China, India, even though we know there are Israelites scattered in those countries that look like you other nations, right? But we talking about full-bred so-called Chinese, Japanese, East Indian, African, Arab, and so-called white people, man. You Edomites, you Hamites, you Ishmaelites, you Moabites, you Ammonites, right? Full blood. You people, you gonna pay, man. And 2/3 of our people who love you and wanna forget about the Lord and cleave unto your God, they're gonna die as well, man. Right? They're gonna die as well. So I got one more. We're gonna shut it down. So yeah, man. It ain't no game. See the fear, man. This ain't no game. The Lord ain't playing, man. And people believe that the Lord is not going to judge this land. The Lord's going to judge this land, man. The Lord is going to judge the inhabitants of the earth. Right? The Lord's going to judge the inhabitants of the earth, man. So this is my last one. This is Amos 3:6. It says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and the Lord have not done it? Right? The answer is no. The Lord, he brings all the death, the destruction, right? The plagues. The Lord is the author of that. He's the culprit behind it, if you want to say that. And the Lord is going to up the ante, man, on you other nations. Y'all not safe. You're not safe, man. And our people, they better get with the program and turn to their power, because there's not that much time left, man. So I'm going to end it there. Yahweh Shem Yahushua willing, the elect was the other Father, when to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakadash, for blessing me with the Spirit to do this lesson. To the next lesson. Shalom.